So the challenge in this shoot was to create a storyboard that was going to go and exhibit in Moscow. I had to shoot everything on an iPhone, which was good, and it had its challenges. Working with the dancers was kind of interesting. They brought such a melody to the way the movement was underwater. The storyline, the narrative was all absolutely exquisite.
So the brief was to create these magical underwater mermaids. Well, the challenges is when I went to rehearsal, I realized that things work underwater in a different way, like different materials. It's like there's no gravity. So I picked materials that move, you know, like the silver that are soft and floaty. So this was the challenges and the excitement.
The creative challenges of working on a project like this was really getting the dancers to be able to work together underwater. They're really used to, when we're on land, feeling each other's weight, but obviously when you're underwater, you have no sense of really where the other person is, and then adding on top of that, you can't really see them very well. So Zena really wanted the dancers to be in contact, doing duets. So this has been the struggle, really getting them to be able to communicate and work together underwater.
So the images we created today, I think we're kind of classic in the sense we used lots of whites and reds, which always look fantastic underwater. We had this kind of doppelganger shape, who was this guy dressed in black, and he was sort of moving through the water as if he was pollution. And he was very important to the way that our nymphs were moving underwater. They move so fluidly when they're with the guy, because the guy is stronger and can generally just push them into the position that he needed. And then we had a lovely image where the guy was falling into the water, which was fantastic to shoot on the iPhone because it does it in such slow-mo, so it almost freezes the shot, which is kind of interesting because I've never seen that underwater before.
I'm a contemporary dancer and I've never sort of done anything like this underwater, so it was quite a lot to learn of how to breathe and take enough breath to stay under but not so much that I float, and then sort of doing contact work with the other performers underwater has been really...
The things a little bit difficult during this kind of shoot underwater, this is my third time today, is that when you have a choreography in your head, you never know where the camera is. Like on stage, we rehearse in a way that we always trying to rehearse in a way that's 360, but this is really 360, like including underneath and above you. So for me, that is like the most difficult, tricky part.
The biggest challenge for me was actually adding the costumes into what we were doing. We've worked with a lot of fabric, and it's been quite interesting trying to move around underwater. Is the fact that underwater we're quite weightless. So when it comes to movement and trying to feel where our body's going or connecting with the other dancers, it's actually a lot more challenging when you don't have weight to be able to feel what's going on.
So I think the biggest challenge for me was to be able to switch between shooting stills and video, in just switching between one and the other. Each requires a different technique, a different strategy and a different motion. So I was having to think quite carefully about the still shot and then switch back into video mode and shoot up something that was working as a time sequence and sort of fitting together with the rest of the sequences that I was making.